and she joins us right now. Lavern, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
What's up, Lavern? How are you?
Thank you, Brian. Thank you all for having me on.
Of course.
Thank you for joining
I
us.
appreciate you coming on. You look much better in pink than I do. Let me just start by saying. All right, so let me ask you the basic question to start. Why did you decide to put your hat in the ring, so to speak, and run for Congress? Why did you decide to do this?
Well, one of the reasons, the main reason is, and I always talk about this anytime I invite it on anyone's show, is because many years ago I started a food pantry in my neighborhood because I saw the need was so great. I saw so many homeless people staying in the streets. Many of them are seniors, many of them are veterans, and I saw people struggling to make the needs meet on a daily basis. So we started the food bank, and it's been in existence for like over 20 plus years now. And that was one of the reasons, because I said, hey, I've been helping everybody else run for office. I might as well just go for it and do it for myself.
Lavern, I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that you have a food bank that you're also giving back to the community in Florida. However, can you clarify for those who are listening, what position are you actually running for? Because I'm looking at your website and it just says Spicer for Congress, but there's not much detail there.
Okay, I'm running for District 22 in Florida for Congress, for U.S. House. And I believe that we need strong fighters and that are going to stand up and fight for this country, and that are willing to make a change for this country, and that are really vocal about that, because there are a lot of people in Congress, but it's kind of strange how it's like you only hear a few names called on a daily basis. So it's like, what's going on with the rest of them? Are they truly fighting for us? Are they standing up for this country, especially now, with everything that's taking place?
Right. Let's talk a little bit about some of the statements you have made. I want to start with Twitter because this is very disturbing. Nobody deserves to be talked to like this or treated like this. Some of the words I can't even use on the radio, but you've been called the N-word, you said. You've been called a coon, a monkey. That is despicable. I think we all could agree on that. It doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or Democrat. That's despicable, and I'm sorry that people use those terms for you. It's horrible.
Right.
You did say, though, that Democrats call me that and Republicans call me future Congresswoman Spicer. So I guess the question I would ask you, and I think we all agree that's horrible, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. Why are you saying that only Democrats called you those things? I mean, anybody that calls you that is terrible, but why are you saying only Democrats?
For many years, let me make this clear. For many years of my life, I was a very dedicated Democrat. I truly believed in the party. I fought for the issues that they represented. And what happened was that when Trump was running, and I began to listen to some of the things that he stood for and some of the things that he was fighting for. And I think the main thing that caught my attention about him was the fact that he was so vocal. He wasn't hiding what he had to say. He wasn't beating around the bush. It didn't matter who it was that he had something to say or talk about. He put them on blast. And that caught my attention in itself. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to become a Republican and started fighting as a Republican. And one of the things that I noticed, when you're a Democrat, they don't care what you say or what you stand for. They don't come in and attack you. But once you switched over to become a Republican, and that's for anybody that's Black, it doesn't even matter. Long as you're Black, you're going to get attacked. You're going to get called all the N-words. You're going to get called the coons. All of that come with the territory. That's just what they do, because they want to discourage you and tell you to get back in your place, come back where you belong. First of all, I'm an independent thinker, and I can articulate and speak very well for anything that I want to stand up and fight about. And I'm already in my place because I'm fighting for what I believe in, and fighting for this country.
So Lavern,
I don't care about the name calling. True is very ignorant, but that just shows the mentality of the people. But the more shameful part It's the same ones that are saying that type of dirty, nasty, vulgar stuff. It's the same ones that are voting for the same people over and over in their community that don't even help they, you know what, in the first place. So why would you keep voting for the same people that are not helping you, and you all spend so much time complaining and fighting for the same thing over and over again, but you're not getting anywhere because you keep electing the same people in office over and over again.
Lavern, the point that you made was that you appreciated Trump for his rhetoric and other Republicans because they spoke their mind. They told the truth about what they were thinking inside and about politics and so on and so forth. However, that's just a way of speech. That is rhetoric. That's not so much the politics and the policies that Republicans believe in. Can you explain to me what specific policies that you actually agree with, that Republicans agree with?
Well, some of the policies I agree with, for one, is the fact that we need to close the border. We have open borders. We have people that are coming here by the millions that have not been vetted. We don't know who they are. The only thing we know is that they're coming here and they're getting the benefits. But what about the Americans that work to build this country in the first place? Where is their sweat equity that they put into this country to help build this country? And now they are starving. You know, they have a very low income. Some of them can't afford to buy food. Some of them can't afford to make it in this on a daily basis. And a lot of them are also forced to adopt their grandkids. So where is anything in it for them, you know? But
you're blaming some people who are coming into our country illegally, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm talking about the ones that are coming in illegally, not the ones that are coming legally. I'm talking about the ones that are coming.
So would you agree with me, Lavern, though, that this isn't a Democrat problem or a Republican problem? It's an American problem that has been going on for decades and decades and decades. And don't you think Republicans and Democrats probably need to work together to come up with better solutions? I agree with you. It's certainly a crisis. I don't know if I'd characterize it as the border being wide open, but certainly I think we could agree there are too many people that are undocumented in this country. I agree with you there, but there are a lot of people crossing the border illegally and those that overstay their visas during the Trump administration as well. Were you criticizing Trump for that as well?
Well, what I'm saying is that we have open borders and something needs to be done about it. Something needs to be done about these people that are coming over here illegally.
So what do you think should be done? What's your solution?
And one thing about it, the borders were open before Trump was in office. So I can't blame that on him. So what about the elected officials that was in there all the time that allowed it to happen in the first place?
Gotcha, I understand. So I want to read it. Just want to read another tweet that you have out, and I want you to receive. So you said there shall be no Biden 2024 under my watch. I understand you're not a Joe Biden supporter, so I understand why you would say that. You said the basement dweller needs to sit down somewhere and let someone without serious dementia run this nation. I guess my question to you is, do you have any medical experience to make a claim like that Joe Biden has dementia?
Well, no, I'm not a medical doctor or anything, but when he's speaking, a lot of times he forget what it is that he's even talking about in the first place.
He's 80 years old, right?
I mean, yeah, he's 80 years old, so that's going to come with the territory.
Sure, but do you think that's appropriate for somebody running for Congress saying that he has dementia when you, and again, with all due respect, you just admitted it, that you don't have any medical experience. And you're not the only one, by the way. There's a lot of people on the right that don't like Joe Biden, and they say he has Alzheimer's, they say he has dementia. And then I say, what's your medical expertise? And they don't have any. Would you say why not just, I guess my question is, why not just focus on the policies you don't like instead of claiming that he has dementia when, let's be honest, you don't know what he has.
Right. Well, I didn't make the claim. Furthermore, what I'm saying is this. It is written. It is what they are writing. It's what they are saying. You see it all the time on the news and the newspapers and the news articles.
Saying that he has
it's not like I initiated the claim.
No, I understand. I'm not saying you did.
Alzheimer's patient.
I understand. I'm not claiming
I didn't initiate that claim.
Right. I understand. I'm not saying you initiated it. I'm just saying the people that are saying those types of things are people that have no medical expertise. They haven't given him a physical. I'm just saying I believe that to be a little bit irresponsible, but let's move on. You said Joe Biden wants transgenders and drag queens to run American schools. What policies has Joe Biden put forward to lead you to believe that he wants drag queens to run American schools?
Well, I'm from the era of the 60s. I was born in the 60s. We didn't have drag queens in our school. And this has changed on Biden's watch, on his watch as the president. So something is going on when we see drag queens that they are trying to have in these classrooms, and as well as all these textbooks that they are writing that is about kids having sex and stuff, you know. So it started on his watch.
Can you, because maybe I'm ignorant to this. Can you tell me in what schools do they have drag queens everywhere teaching kids?
Well, they show it all the time on social media.
Can you give me like one school where that's happening?
Whether it's in drag, whether it's in school, or whether it's in a club where they're taking these kids to, where you see the drag queens and you see the mothers sitting there with their little babies and stuff. If you have to be an adult to get into a club, if you're going into a grocery store, you got to be 18 or 21 or whatever to buy beer, to purchase an alcoholic beverage. What I'm saying is that why?
So you're saying young kids are going into 18 and over and 21 and over clubs. Children and parents are taking those kids into clubs with drag queens. That's terrible if that's happening. Where is that happening?
They show it all the time on social media.
So Brian,
they show it all the time. I see it all the time.
Lavern, you're not incorrect, because she is right. There are a lot of videos out there that show parents bringing their children and babies to drag brunches, not really drag clubs, but drag brunches, or they have their own private party where there are drag queens there. However, one thing that I want to make mention of is that, Lavern, you said this is Joe Biden's issue. I want to make it very clear. Drag queens have been around way before you and I. 1, 2, drag queens have been in and out of different spaces that we don't know about. 3, we didn't have social media, and you probably didn't have social media back in your time when you were growing up as much as we do now. So you probably weren't being made aware of all the different spaces drag queens are in. However, I don't see how you believe this.
I doubt that in the 60s people spent their time entertaining drag queens. I seriously doubt that.
That's fine that you doubt that, Lavern, because you were not giving drag queens exposure and going out and spending your money.
Absolutely not. My parents would have never went for that.
That's fine. That's you and your parents. I respect you and your parents. However, what you cannot say is that this was not already happening. Joe Biden is not in these schools every day saying you should do this, you shouldn't do this, you can do this, and you cannot do this. These are people who are part of private and public entities that Joe Biden probably doesn't even know about, that are making the conscious decision to have these drag queens in their schools. On top of that, when you're looking at these different private companies that are having drag brunches and so on, they are having people who made the decision outside of Joe Biden, because I'm sure these people don't have Joe Biden's phone number, to bring their children into these spaces. I think what we're not remembering is that these drag queens are coming in to talk about inclusion and fun, just the same way as we needed Black people to come into classrooms and talk about diversity and inclusion. They're doing the same exact thing.
Two different things. That's two different.
You do two different things.
If you're just joining us, she is Lavern Spicer. She is running for Congress in Florida, District 22. Lavern, you believe that Joe Biden wants to teach kids how to masturbate? You said that on social media. Do you believe that?
Excuse me?
You said on Twitter that Joe Biden wants transgenders and drag queens to run American schools while teaching kids about masturbation.
They're already in the schools. They're already doing that. If you look at the books, if you look at the books that they have out, that's the type of stupidity that they have in these books that these kids should not be exposed to. In other countries, they're teaching their kids education, mathematics, how to succeed in life. And in this country, we are teaching kids about drag queens. And on the same token, we have taken prayer completely out of school and replaced it with drag queens.
Lavern, I will wholeheartedly have to disagree that drag queens are coming in and teaching our students about masturbation. I can tell you, when I was in middle school and high school, our Caucasian white PE teacher was the one who taught us about masturbation and taught us about sex and making sure we do not contract STDs. I can tell you that in 5th grade, I had Caucasian white male teachers and women Caucasian teachers who split up the boys and the girls and told us about our genitalia. I am so confused to why you think that this is a new topic that's being brought into our school. We have been being taught about masturbation, sex, and STDs. I'm
Well,
confused.
that's the parents' job. That's the parents' job at the end of the day to decide when and if and when they want to have those type of subjects, sexual subjects with their kids.
I don't disagree.
That's with their kids. A lot of people, they want the right to have those type of topics
now
with their
Lavern,
kids. A lot of people don't even want their kids being entertained by that type of stuff,
Lavern,
especially if they come from a Christian environment.
Lavern, do you have kids?
Yes, I have kids.
Okay, and when your kids were in these classrooms when they were talking about sex, did your kids not bring home a letter asking you if it's okay if they're taught about these topics and for you to sign off on that?
No, they didn't.
Listen,
My kids attended.
I'm sorry.
That's not the issue. All of that started at home. All of that started at home. Okay. So I didn't need the classrooms or the teachers to teach my kids about anything because that's my job.
So Lavern,
I want to talk about sex. That's my job. If I want them to be exposed to that, and I'm sure a lot of people in this country feel the same way. That's their jobs as parents to make that decision, and they don't want the school board deciding that for them.
So Lavern, I want to challenge you, since you're running for House Representative, to make this one of your policies where we're actually being more involved in our school systems, because when I was in school, I had to bring a letter to my parents, having them sign off for me to even be in that classroom. They talked about genitalia and sex, and so did my younger sisters. I don't know what schools that you've been through or your children have been through, and I'm sorry that you guys didn't have that option, but I want to implore you, because you are running for Congress, that you make that a part of your policies. If you're so strong on this issue, this should be one of the issues you believe in.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. People should be making that decision. That's their child. They the one gave birth to that child or adopted that child or however they got that child. That should be their right and their discussion and on their call, and not the school system responsibility. So, and I believe a lot of people would agree with me. That's why you see so many people down at the school board that are showing up and finding out what's going on with their child in the first place. People got to get involved so they'll know what's taking place. A lot of times people don't even know what type of discussions that they are holding in this classroom.
So you believe that drag queens and transgenders, they're dangerous to children, right? That's your position on that. It's dangerous, right?
I believe that the narratives that they are pushing, if you are trying, I saw a case on social media that the drag queen was giving a child a lap dance and the child got hurt. So that type of stuff is what I'm against.
I understand, but you're
saying that the classroom is the place. I'm gonna make
understood.
it for kids to go and learn and get an education.
Gotcha. No, I understand. The number one cause of death in children, as you know, is guns, not drag queens. So I want to ask you, what are solutions to the gun violence and the high rate of crime and gun violence that we have in this country? Because I don't see you really talking about that on social media. You certainly talk about pedophiles and drag queens. I don't have one story of a drag queen that ever killed a child. And the gun violence that we have in this country is horrendous. So what are your solutions to all the gun violence?
Well, first of all, the criminals already have guns. I'm going to say it again. The criminals already have guns. They don't care about going to through a background check or anything else because they burn them in the streets. People in the streets sell guns every day. They're very accessible. But people should have the right to protect their homes, their jobs, their families, especially in some places when you have a high crime area
So I would just say that the Tennessee shooter purchased guns legally. The Uvalde shooter purchased guns legally. The Buffalo shooter purchased guns legally. The Las Vegas shooter, October 1, that killed over 60 people, purchased guns legally. While I agree that there are a lot of criminals with illegal guns out there, I'm asking you what your solutions are. What are your solutions to you're running for Congress? I take your candidacy very seriously. I want to know what your solutions are.
Well, the solutions is to get people more educated about awareness of guns. First of all, the fact that there's gun violence in every community, and condolences to all the families that have lost loved ones from gun violence. But it takes a village. It takes a village. Right? You asked me my solution, so I'm gonna give it to you.
Sure.
I'm gonna give it to you. Sure. The solution is for everybody to get involved when it comes to gun violence. You can't just say it's the police department's job. They rely on the people from the community. So if you're in a community and crimes are occurring, but nobody want to talk about it because nobody want to be a snitch, then that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. So
when you say get involved,
when you see things that are going on, you need to talk about it, because
you're saying
it could be your home also.
You're saying see something, say something, right?
Yes.
So, but that's great. I mean, there's a lot of different marketing tools out there that say see something, say something, stick up for your communities, and don't be afraid to tell on your fellow man. However, that's not a solution from you. That's just a solution for us. What's something that you can actually implement?
Solution, and that is a solution, because at the end of the day, if don't nobody want to talk about what happened when they sit there and watch whoever drove by and shot the person's house up or shot up that kid's birthday party, but nobody want to come forward to say anything, so guess what? That's a problem. That's a problem, because a lot of time they know exactly who did what, but nobody wants to talk about it.
I guess my question is, I want to know what policies, for example, do you think an 18-year-old should be able to walk into a store and purchase as many rounds of ammunition and a bunch of assault weapons without any training? Are you okay with that?
At the end of the day, anybody that want a gun can buy them. They're going to be able to get them anyway. Whether they go to the counter to buy them or whether they buy them hot in the streets.
Okay, so my understanding is you don't necessarily have any policies you would implement, but you just want people to get involved and talk about the violence and talk about it. I wanted to ask you, Kamala Harris, you had said that she, quote, "You are not Indian and you ain't black. Stop appropriating over language." Kamala Harris's father is from Jamaica. Why would you say she's not partially black? I don't understand that.
Jamaican is Jamaican. If you black, you black. If you are black, you are black.
Oh, hold on.
Jamaican. She is Indian.
Lavern, where were you born?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Where do you currently live?
You know where I live at already. Why are you asking me that?
No, you're in Florida.
You invited me on this show. If you invited me on this show, you already know where I live at.
Lavern, that wasn't a disrespectful question. That was a real question. What city do you live in Florida?
You already know where I live at.
I don't know where you live. I know you're in Florida.
Well, she lives in Florida.
Do you know what city she's in? No, there's a reason I ask.
I do not.
What city do you live in? I went to
Miami.
Florida.
She's in Miami.
Are you in Miami? If you're in Miami, perfect. I'm glad you said that. That's perfect. I was not trying to be disrespectful. I went to Florida International University. I have my bachelor's in communications arts from there. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and it was definitely a culture shock for me to be in a city where there are people who look like you but have different cultures. They speak like you.
Yeah, and that's all over.
Right. That's fine, Lavern. That's fine, Lavern. However, what I'm trying to get at is this. When you are in America, regardless if you're Jamaican, regardless if you're Haitian, regardless if you're from Africa, if you get pulled over, you are black. When you are not speaking, you are black. When Caucasian people look at you, you are black. They are still afraid of you. You're still considered a black person in America. While there are some Caribbeans who may not believe that they're black here, while there are some Africans who may not like other black people here, you're still black in America. Black and African Americans, two different things. Jamaican American is two different things. Black encompasses all of us. So she is definitely still black, and she was born in Oakland, California.
It's like this, for each their own. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter to me.
Well, if it doesn't matter, then why did you bring it up? Hold on.
If you're Jamaican, you're Jamaican.
I'm just asking you, if it doesn't matter to you, and I'll take you for your word, then why would you go on your Twitter account and claim she's not black? Why would you do that?
She's not black. And at the end of the day, it is my Twitter account.
You're allowed to do it. I didn't say you weren't allowed to do it. I just don't know why you would do it. Now you're a Donald Trump supporter, right? And there are a lot of people out there that are Donald Trump supporters. So if Donald Trump runs for office, you're going to vote for him, I would imagine, again, right, in 2024. Is that a fair assessment to make?
Yes, if he's the nominee, of course.
Mm-hmm. When Donald Trump bragged about, say, sexual assault, 25 plus women that have accused him of sexual assault or rape, including his ex-wife, as a woman, how do you feel about that?
As a woman, he's not the only one that's been accused of sexual assault.
I'm not doing whataboutism. You're the Donald Trump supporter. I'm asking you, as a woman, in regards to Donald Trump, when he has an open rape case right now, which he's probably going to lose, a civil case. His own ex-wife accused him of rape. He's bragged about sexual assault. He has kids with multiple women. Is he the
only man in America to have kids with multiple women?
He's one of the few men in America that's running for president. That's what we're talking about right now. I don't condone any of that.
Is he one of the few men in America that has a sexual assault case?
Joe Biden doesn't.
Oh, really? Well, I see one of the where his daughter has accused him of molesting her.
That's a completely unfounded claim, and he's never been charged with anything involving sexual assault.
Yeah, of course, he's the president.
Well, Donald Trump has. I'm just asking you, as a woman, I guess it doesn't bother you, and that's okay. I'll move on. When Donald Trump goes after a POW and John McCain and says he doesn't respect John McCain because he was captured, what do you think about that?
I think that if you're so concerned about POW, speaking of them, why don't you ask your President Biden to free Paul Wheeler while you're speaking about POWs? So
you think he can just pick up the phone and Waylon is his name, by the way. You think he can just pick up a phone and say, hey, can you release him? Is that how you think it works? Or I'm just trying to.
I know is that they freed Brittany. So if they free Brittany, I'm sure they can release him.
Okay. What did you think about when Otto Warmbier came home as a vegetable? What did you think about that? Did you criticize Donald Trump for that?
Really?
I think it's a fair question because I'm totally open to talking about your criticisms of Joe Biden. I don't like Joe Biden a lot either. He wasn't my first, second, or third.
I sure can't tell. Look like to me that you like y'all are like his number one fan.
Okay, well that's great.
This conversation has been about is Biden, and how much more time do we have on the show anyway?
I understand. Hold on, Jamie. I understand that you probably don't want to be challenged on some of the ridiculous things that you said.
I could care less about being challenged because you know what? Okay. That's what makes America a beautiful damn country. We have the fact.
Let me be very clear.
We have our opinion. We have the fact to say what we feel, and it's all the diversity. You know, we could be.
Why is there such little diversity in the Republican Party?
How we feel about whatever. That's what makes this country a beautiful country.
Why is it then that there are so few people that look like you that are in the Republican Party? Why are there so many minorities in the Democrat Party, but the party that you choose, there are so few women and minorities? What is that?
Well, one thing I could say is that I have seen a big change, and I see a lot of blacks leaving the Democratic Party because they're tired of their lies. They're leaving
the
lies?
Democratic Party. What lies? Give me a lie.
Like I said, they tired of the lies. That's why they leave the Democratic Party, and that's why so many of them are Republicans, and that's why so many black Republicans ran for Congress in 2020 more than in the history ever in the United States of America.
What lies are you referring
to? So it's not a few, it's plenty of us.
There are more minorities
feel the same way I do, but they just don't want to be vocal about it because they are afraid. And I talk to them each and every day.
Gotcha.
So I know that for a fact.
Well, what lies are you referring to?
I see it every day. Each and every day I see it.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, though, what lies are you referring to? What Democratic lies? Can you be specific?
I'm asking you, Brian, because I really don't want to hang up on you and your little show.
So you don't want to answer my question?
I want to know how much more time is this?
And I want you to answer my question. What Democrat lies are you referring to? Can you be specific on anything? You make generalizations that Joe Biden enables pedophiles and drag queens in schools.
Okay, what I'm talking about is the promises.
What promises?
Promises.
What promises?
It's the promises.
What promises? Why can't you answer one of my questions? You say that Democrats lie.
Question, bro. I'm going to answer your question.
I'm waiting.
I am talking about in the communities that vote for these Black elected Democratic officials that are elected, that make all these promises to do this and help the community out.
Name me a promise. Name me a lie.
The only thing they do is sell us out. They don't help us at all.
And
I've seen that happening over and over again. Such as a case in point.
Gotcha.
Right here in Miami. I'm going to give you the prime example.
Okay. Was it a Republican lie?
Wait a minute. You asking me and I'm going to tell you. Okay. Right here in Miami, where we have a huge Democratic voting base in the Black community, they have basically put everybody out of the housing projects that we have here. So we have several housing development that where Blacks lived for over like at least 30 or 40 years that are now vacant. And they sent these people down south. They have totally disenfranchised them from their family.
Let me ask you a question about that.
Disenfranchised from their loved ones. Wait. You asked me.
I know.
So I'm talking about what's going on in my community.
You're talking about the project, people in Miami being disenfranchised. Did you have the same complaint of the thousands of lawsuits that the man who used to support Donald Trump when he disenfranchised Black people in New York City and he had to pay off those lawsuits?
But guess what? Donald Trump was never a commissioner in my district. I'm talking about my district.
Dude,
because you're talking about my community. I'm not talking about what Donald Trump did because I never.
I know you don't, but I am
in Liberty City in my office. I'm talking about these Black elected
Democrat lies,
as well as Chicago and these other places. How they don't do nothing to help the Black people. When you look at Chicago and you look at that high crime district, what are they doing to help those people? That's the same failure that we see in the Democratic Party over and over again. They have totally let us down as Black people. So that's exactly, you asked me a question. I'm talking about my community and what took place in my community.
And you haven't shown me any evidence the Democrats lied, but would you call it a Republican lie when Donald Trump?
I just told you they lied.
Would you call it a Republican lie when Donald Trump?
If they lied, I don't give a damn what they are. If they're a Democrat, independent, Republican, or otherwise, if they lie, they lie. A lie is what it is. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter what platform they have. I don't care who they support. It don't even make me no difference. It is what it is.
Did Donald Trump lie when he said he won the 2020 election? Because I haven't heard you talk about that. Was that a lie?
Where are the 81 million people that voted for Biden? Where are they at? Where are the 81 million people that voted for Biden?
Where's your evidence of fraud? Where's your evidence of fraud? So it's not a lie. It's not a lie. I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
Because what I saw was people pulling up to those voting stations 4 days in the morning, dropping those ballots off.
That's absolutely a lie, and that is not true.
Taking place.
So it's not a lie when
stuff that was going down at these polling sites. So I don't care. At the end of the day, in Miami, we have dead people that come back to vote every year. So you can call it what you want, and I will call it what I want.
The 2020 election. That's not a lie. So Donald Trump,
where the 81 million voters at?
Right?
Where they at? I want to see them. I want to see the 81 million voters. I want to see where the 81 million voters at.
Okay, so you're running for office, yet you think that
I have a hard time believing that 81 million people actually voted for him.
Gotcha. So Lavern, I say this with all due respect. You are not a serious candidate. You make gross assertions about Democrats.
I don't care what you say because my life is not based on you. Whether you call me a serious candidate or not, really does not matter because at the end of the day, I'm going to continue fighting for what I believe in, and I'm going to continue feeding my community, and I'm going to continue doing everything that I do, whether you like it or not.
I will make a wager right now. You have absolutely no chance.
I don't need to validate anything in my life. I don't need a validation for y'all because I'm everything that God say I am. I'm a believer, and I'm a
what did you say?
for those that don't have a voice and have a nice day.
Wait,
Goodbye.
wait,
And
Lavern,
I
what did you
love
say
these
earlier?
She's talking. She's not listening.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
she's going
Goodbye.
off.
See you later.
I just want to know what
Yeah.
she called me earlier.
Who cares?
Because
Complete idiot.
listen, Lavern, she said that she wants to fight for black people, but here she is.
Complete idiot.
Here's a young African American man who's trying to make a way for himself, who's been fighting in this industry for 8 years, who's trying to have a civil conversation with her. And what she wants to do is devalue me, but did not devalue. I'm not saying that you need to be devalued because you're white, but I'm saying is that she spared you, but she's coming for me.
Well,
but she wants me to believe as an
so-
African American person, she has my
Jamie.
back. Girl, if you don't get out of here.
Hey, Jamie.
Jamie. She's lucky she had you. She's lucky she had you.
Jamie, well,
because
she
if I was
doesn't have me.
no. She's lucky she had you to talk to her.
Jamie,
Because
let
when
me
I
be
was
clear.
responding,
Let me be clear.
woo,
Don't-
child.
Jamie,
Listen, I had to
Jamie,
remove my headphones. I'm
I understand.
irritated.
Jamie, don't take it personal. She is a moron.
Oh no, I don't take it personal.
She's
Listen,
a moron.
that's fine, Brian. What I want you to understand is this. One thing that I can say, and you can disagree with me or not, I'm going to stand on this. One thing that you don't experience that I experience is that as a black individual, we are facing against every other ethnicity. And when you have your own ethnicity coming against you, when they're trying to sit here and say at the same time they have your back. When I lived in Miami, Florida, I was actually about looking at the policies. I was a college student that a lot of these politicians have to come talk to, and they came to our school at FIU because Obama came. And my thing is, you want to sit here and try to tell me that you are from Miami, Florida? Girl, if you don't stop being a waste of time,
We got to take
go
a
work at
break.
McDonald's.
We got to take a break. Please. We got to take a break. But before we take a break, let me just say this. She makes gross assumptions about Democrats, that Joe Biden is enabling pedophiles and there's drag queens in our schools. Her solution to gun violence is let's talk about it, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. She has no understanding of foreign policy. She thinks Joe Biden can just pick up the phone and get Whalen out of Russia, which is idiocy at its finest. She talks about the projects and black people being disenfranchised in some alleged story in Miami. But then when I talked to her about the thousands and thousands of black people that Donald Trump was sued for disenfranchising people in the apartments that he owned in Manhattan, completely ignorant to that, didn't want to talk about it. She didn't directly answer one of my questions. And I will say this in closing. She literally has, even among Republicans, she has no chance of winning. She is a complete idiot. And I will never invite her back on my show because she is a moron. We got to take a break.
She said she was going to hang up on you earlier.
Yeah, well,
I dislike a politician who can't handle an interview. My thing is, y'all were both yelling at each other for sure, but she definitely started off that the wrong way.
For the record, I was being extremely...
No, you're calm at first. You really were.
I was being extremely patient and respectful to her. But when you're that stupid and you can't even answer a direct question, you're running for